under him by Florimo. Now he plays it to Alexander again, gets it out to Peter Kelly, but he's pulled out a metre short again. Alexander dives for the line, got it down, it's a try, got it down, Alexander.
All right, footy fanatics, let's head out to Leichhardt Oval, smack dab in the heart of Tiger territory, for this afternoon's clash between Balmain and Newcastle. League 90 is brought to you by LJ Hooker, Auto Village Holden, Liquor Stop and Tui's on Sydney's #1 footy station. Here's the Decibel duo, Greg Hartley and Peter Peters.
A very good afternoon. Welcome to Leichhardt Oval this afternoon. Round 7 of the Winfield Cup. Should be a monumental clash today, and this grandstand will shudder when these two packs of forwards get into it. Balmain and Newcastle, the Tigers, coached by Warren Ryan. Their fullback back in, well, he's not in #1 today, in number 40, but back at fullback, jumping Jimmy Jack, Gary Jack Bell, back for Balmain. On the wings, Damien McGarry and James Grant. Ian McCann and Tim Brasher are in the centres. Ginger Meggs, Michael Neal is 5'8". Gary Freeman's the halfback, locking the scrum, the son of Coach East, Kevin Hardwick. In the second row, John Elias and Paul Sirinen. Front row, Bruce Maguire and Steve Roach. And bouncing, Benny Elias is the hooker and captain of the Balmain Tigers. And on the bench today, there'll be a great round of applause for their regular skipper, Wayne Junior Pearce, back in action sometime in today's game. Here's Hollywood, Greg Hartley with his Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, they're not my Knights, Peter, but they're nice Knights. But welcome back, Wayne Pearce. What a strange number, Peter. 47 on the back of Wayne Pearce today.
41.
47.
They've changed again.
They've changed it again, son. But anyway, getting back to the Knights, they're coached by Alan McMahon, an ex-Balmain boy. Marty Creaker is in the fullback position. Steve Former and John Allenson are the wingers. Tony Kemp and Jeffrey Doyle are the centre combination. Michael Hagan is the 5'8" and captain of the side. Robbie McCormack is the halfback. Mark Granville is the lock forward. David Boyd will lock in with Sammy Stewart in the second row. Peter Johnston and Mark Sargent are the two front row forwards. Scotty Carter is going to be the hooker.
Okay, referee Greg McCullum, crowd of around 7,000 at Leichhardt this afternoon. Reserve grade to the Newcastle Knights by 20-16, and the President's Cup to the Balmain Tigers by 14 points to 12. Uninterrupted rugby league on Sydney's #1 footy station from Tui's, Auto Village Holden, LJ Hooker and Liquor Stop, and what a game it should be this afternoon. Let's go to our sideline eye, best in the business, Mr. Magoo, Tony McGay.
Perfect conditions, sunshine at Leichhardt Oval, plenty to play for too. Origin selection tomorrow night, plenty to play for.
Certainly plenty to play for, and no love lost between these two sides, and good to see a senior referee in Greg McCullum get the appointment. Not a match to experiment in this afternoon here at Leichhardt Oval. Should be a beauty. The Tigers are defending the southern end of Leichhardt Oval, and Newcastle, who have been here overnight, and they have had a training session this morning without their coach, Alan McMahon, and it's certainly going to be a situation here this afternoon that Newcastle will pull out all stops at Leichhardt Oval this afternoon. Stand by for the national anthem. Get underway. This is going to be a beauty, and it's going to be on from the start. No love lost between these two sides. The crowd has swelled in the last 10 to 15 minutes. It could be up around the 9,000 mark, 8,000 after being disappointing early. Referee McCullum blows time on, and talking about wind, here's Greg Hartley.
Yeah, straight into the arms of Marty Creaker. Creaker, that's right, and he's put down in a cracker, but he's coughed up possession straight away, and the referee has ruled a knock on both ways. Maguire diving on the football, but nevertheless the scrum to go down.
That's hardly a good start for Creaker. They might be looking for a creek to put him in if he makes mistakes like that.
Scrum to go down. Robbie McCormack now the halfback for the Newcastle Knights. Glanville told to get his head in the scrum. The feed's on from McCormack. They win it too. Races away. He's got support. Tony Kemp out wide. He's coughed up possession too. Very quickly picked up that time by Hagan and put down immediately. He'll get up to play the ball. Back now it goes to Kemp. A good pass across to Glanville. He's about 15 metres out from his own goal line. Scotty Carter at dummy half sends one across to Sargent, charging forward outside of his own quarter line. Going to be held up by strong Balmain defence that time from Elias and Brasher. Back to Carter again across to Sam Stewart with a point to prove this afternoon to his coach Alan McMahon. He's knocked down now 30 metres out from his own goal line. Carter gives it again back to Glanville, charging forward. They've got the dropsies already, Zorba. Balmain in possession of the ball.
Balmain through John Elias now, 33 metres out from the Newcastle Knights goal line. From dummy half goes the whiz, Gary Freeman. 0-0 on the Mitsubishi scoreboard.
Yes, 30 metres out from the Newcastle line. Back now to Benny Elias to Stephen Roach. Dummies, goes on his own. Pull down a good tackle by Sargent. Gets up now to play the ball. Once again to Elias across to Paul Sirinen. Carter comes at him in company with Boyd over the top, and he is eventually put down 28 metres out from the Knights goal line. Ben Elias at dummy half across now to Freeman again. Elects to kick this time down across. Creekers there, and so is Fulmer. Fulmer allowing it to bounce. Manages to eventually dive on the football and then is taken over the top by Neil.
He's a good little player, Steve Fulmer, but he's a halfback, and really that's an experiment. I know they've got a lot of injuries, but putting a halfback on the wing is is asking for trouble. And right at this moment, it's Balmain defending very strongly. They've got Newcastle locked up inside their own quarter.
Jeffrey Doyle trying to go forward. He'll get up to the 10-metre line before being knocked down by Freeman. Once again, he'll play it now to Carter. Fulmer's still down in back play. We see Sargent going forward. Dead set forward pass even from where I was sitting, but the referee's allowed it to go. One tackle left to go to Newcastle. Carter giving it back once again into the arms of Robbie McCormack with a good kick downfield. Bouncing off the leg of Jack. They're all on. Hagen up very quickly. So is Kemp. Kemp goes over the top with a swinging arm, and he has been pinched.
Yeah, well, Tony Kemp already in the game has had a swing at Paul Sirinen, and now he's been told to keep his tackles down. So there's Tony Kemp early in the game, in the opening couple of minutes, running the gauntlet here at Leichhardt Oval, opening penalty of the game to the Balmain Tigers, 30 metres out from their own goal line. McCann cribs a yard and then finds the sideline 10 metres into Newcastle territory. 0-0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. The free kick to be taken by Elias.
Back now to Maguire. Maguire charging forward, 30 metres out now from the Newcastle goal line. He's knocked to the ground. Elias again at dummy half. He gives it back this time to James Grant. Grant going forward, 28 metres now out from the Newcastle goal line. And once again, Elias at dummy half. He looks for Freeman, receives it out. It goes to Neil. And the kick once again is on Tim Brasher, flying down into the in goal. Creeker's going to get in there first. He'll take possession. Can he get out? He can beat Benny Elias. He's got some toe. Marty Creeker, good run down the close touch line. And he's brought the ball out some 15 metres from his own goal line before Hardwick puts him down. Now Allison gives it once again to Tony Kemp, who puts the arm up to cover up 20 metres away from the Newcastle goal line. It goes across this time to Hagen, but we've got Balmain offside, says the referee. Penalty given to the Newcastle Knights, 28 metres out from the Knights goal line.
4 minutes gone at Leichhardt Oval, 0-0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. The Knights take a tap rather than go for the sideline, which I can't understand.
Nor can I.
OK, sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Kept those arms down, Newcastle. They're slow to learn. A bloke got 5 weeks the other day.
Yeah, certainly did. And, well, a teammate of theirs, they should know.
Glanville now plays it again to Scott Carter. Does a 360. Looks for support. None available. Committed to go to ground, and he does too with Hardwick again over the top. Sammy Stewart gives one across to Sargent. He hits it up strongly too, but then Sirinen over the top pulls him down. Carter again at dummy half. It goes straight back to McCormack. He gets another kick downfield. Gary Jack better positioned on that occasion. 5 out from his own goal line to take it. Again, the chase is up. Good strong hit from Boyd. And we see Gary Jack go to ground 11 metres out centre field from his own goal line. Freeman now gives it back this time to McGarry. McGarry going to be wrapped up 18 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Back to Ben Elias. It goes across this time to McCann, and he is knocked down just outside his own quarter line.
Well, Balmain are willing to share the workload. That was McGarry and then McCann. They're taking it out. The forwards should be there. Here's a chance of a try.
Allenson picked up a ball which was cuffed up by Maguire, and he's pulled down now 5 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Sammy Stewart, a dummy half from that position, elects to go on his own. He's big and he's strong, but he's going to be held out. He quickly plays it to Carter, sends it across now out this time to Hagen, who turns it back to McCormack. But he's going to be pulled down and is now 8 metres away from the Balmain goal line.
Big gaps on the left.
Goes across once again to Glanville. Good pass out to Hagen, who can pick up Creeker. Creeker gives it back to Hagen again. Tries to get around Neil. Another long pass across to Doyle. Doyle gets it out now to Fulmer. Fulmer going to be wrapped up. Is he? Yes, he is. And he's pulled down eventually by Brasher. But the first tackle was Ben Elias, who's got a hand problem again. Now we see Carter on a wrap around. Gives it back now to Peter Johnson. And he's going to be held up by Michael Neal and also Roach, and eventually slammed to the ground just outside the Tigers quarter. Sargent gives it back to Kemp. High kick goes up to No distance gained, but very high and taken on the far side by McGarry, and he was a mile offside.
Well, McGarry took that football, and the Newcastle player, it was Fulmer, was there as the ball came down and tackled him. The penalty's been given now, not for that incident that I called, but he was well offside, but referee McCallum has caught them for being inside the 5. 0-all on the Mitsubishi scoreboard, and that could have been curtains for Balmain, because it was a clear run for John Adamson on the wing, and John Allenson on the wing after the ball was knocked down by the second row forward, Bruce Maguire. There's Elias with a quick kick.
Yes, on tackle 1-2. And again, Marty Creek is there to take possession for his side and save what could have been a very, very sticky situation. Tackle one behind the ruck.
Here it was. It was Elias on the first tackle, turning Newcastle around, testing Marty Creeker, and Creeker was equal to the occasion. Brasher going through, taking him in the in-goal area, so it'll be a line drop out. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
The Tigers are attacking the fullback and the wingers. The only albuno Kiwi, Creeker.
Okay, talking about blondes, here's one. Gary Jack up to almost the quarter.
Oh, yeah, and he's put down in a strong tackle too. By Sabby Stewart. It's back now into the arms of McGarry once again. Another strong run. He looks for support. Was going to give it back to Elias. Changes his mind.
McCann.
Benny says bite the dust, but it's back to Elias now. Then to Roach to Freeman. Good pass across to John Elias. Out to Michael Neal. Then out this time into the arms of Brasher. Steps away from the tackle of Doyle, but eventually taken by McCormack. We'll play it 28 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. McGarry, Freeman. Good pass on again to John Elias. Sam Stewart in a good tackle down low, drops him. He'll play it back to Ben Elias again. He's got a big fella going through in the name of Roach. Back now to Freeman again, takes off, but he's picked up by Tony Kemp. One tackle left to go inside the Knights quarter line. John Elias across now to Ben Elias. A long pass across now to Gary Jack. Chips up over the top. James Grant coming through, shoulder charge, and it's out the back door, and everything say okay there.
Well, I think that James Grant there was shouldered out of the way deliberately as he was chasing the ball. Referee saw it, didn't rule in favour of Balmain, and well, it looked to me as though he's taking out a player there, but it's a tap.
He didn't grab him, Pete, he just bumped him, and that's quite legal.
Okay, a tap from the quarter by Carter, and this Newcastle side being locked up inside their own territory by a very strong Balmain defence at the moment.
Peter Johnson up the plate to Carter, goes across once again into the arms of Hagan to Boyd. Boyd tries to get that extra yard or so. Manages to get outside his own quarter line. Carter now across to Sargent. Sargent hits it up strongly. Oh, Roach combining with McCann and Hardwick to put him down. Carter at dummy half. He gives it across this to Mark Glanville again. But Glanville goes down about 12 metres short of the halfway line. Still in Newcastle territory. Back it goes once again to Sam Stewart charging forward. Roach in there. Oh, they're all in there over the top to put him down. Combining once again with McCann for a strong tackle. Back it goes this time to McCormack. Again getting a kick down. Taken by Gary Jack. Does a 360, looks at his own quarter line, comes up, but he's taken two and a very good tackle. Strong defence from Newcastle on that occasion, and that was Glanville putting him down.
Yeah, very safe Gary Jack, and he's getting a lot of work back there for Balmain today. Both sides kicking, looking for that territorial advantage here and field position, and that's the name of the game so far this afternoon. Balmain through Surinan, trying to slug their way through. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Gary Jack, he's been told to take the ball on the full, something he wasn't doing when his confidence was down.
Okay, so Gary Jack in jumper number 40 today. Wayne Pearce in 47 on the bench.
And Roach charging forward once again. A strong run. Phase two of his game as it goes back to Elias. Across now to Michael Neal, out to McCann. McCann drops a long one over to James Grant, who's got some toe. John Allenson comes at him, tries to get around him, turns it back inside to Freeman again, and Freeman's wrapped up Allenson on and put a good one in too, but the touch judge has missed that one.
Yeah, well, the referee hasn't, and the referee will caution John Allenson now. I'm surprised James Grant didn't try and take him on the outside because he's got a lot of pace on Allenson.
Well, Allenson has been sent for 5 for a petulant act, a stupid act. He threw the ball back, and Roach is sending him off.
Yeah, Roach is sending him off. As we had a caller earlier today saying that Steve Roach can find something funny in a football game, and there's the big fellow turning referee at Leichhardt
Just gave him 5, Roachy.
Big blocker says, go to the bin for 5, you naughty boy.
Gary Jack now kicks for the touchline. Flag goes up just outside the Newcastle quarter. The tap to be taken by Ben Elias. He does so now. He gives it back to Maguire. Maguire treasuring possession on this occasion, and he's knocked down by Sammy Stewart on the Newcastle quarter line. Elias across now to John Elias. Nearly through the gap too. I tell you what, that could have been a Shepherd, and he's got him too. He used Brasher going through, Peter.
Yeah, he certainly did, Greg. 10 minutes gone in the first half at Leichhardt. 0-0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard between the Knights and the Tigers, and good game of football so far here this afternoon.
There's the line kick now by Tony Kemp. Will find touch about 28 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Free kick this time to be taken by Scott Carter. Gives it across this time to McCormack, who juggles the football, manages to go forward, but eventually he's knocked down 29 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. It's back with McCormack. He gives it across once again, this time to Peter Johnson, and Johnson goes to ground. He'll get up once again to play it to Carter. Goes across this time to Hagan to Stewart. Sam Stewart lifting the legs high as he tries to go through the tackle of Hardwick, but to no avail. Carter again, he gives it across this time into the arms of Sargent, and Sargent is pulled down 8 metres short of the halfway line. Carter once again across now to Hagan. Beautiful pass out to Former. Former turns it back inside, this time to Doyle. Doyle taken to one tackle left to go to the Knights inside the Tigers quarter line. Back it goes to Hagan. Good pass across to Peter Johnson. Flicks it out the back door. It was a dud one, but it's picked up by Hagan. Back to Former. In frustration, he puts the ball straight up into the air. Everybody allowing it to bounce on the first occasion. Stewart goes to get it. Lost possession. Came off his knee straight into the arms of Maguire. Goes across now to Neil, out to Benny Elias. Elias across to James Grant. Back inside to Ben Elias. Ben Elias stood there treating him with contempt. They didn't know what he was going to do. They stood off him and then realised he was only going to stand there, and he's put down. Now it's McCann again. He's charging forward 8 metres up to the halfway line. He'll get knocked to the ground. Up again to play it back to Benny Elias across to Roach. Roach, good pass out to Maguire, and Hardwick now finds a hole in the Newcastle defence. Put his head down and steamrolled his way forward. 8 metres over the halfway line centre field. He's up to play it back down to Benny Elias, giving a good pass across, and it was good service too to McCann, who's through the gap. Holds it back up this time for Freeman. Freeman gives it across down to Benny Elias, and Elias reaches down to pick it up out down to James Grant. Grant tries to stand well up, races through, and that Union-style kick over the top, but again Marty Creaker there to take possession back inside his own in goal, so they're going back to the quarter line. Okay, the quarter line for the restart of play. Tony McGay.
The Newcastle trainer's just been reprimanded for running onto the field, and I mean officially.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Well, he won't do that again, I'm sure. We've got the tap to be taken, and it is Peter Johnson giving the ball back to Scott Carter again, doing a 360, but he's knocked down now 32 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. He'll get up to play the ball. Back it goes into the arms of Sammy Stewart, wrapped up once again 10 metres short of the halfway line. It's back to Carter, gives it across now to David Boyd, who takes the leather right up towards the halfway strip.
13 minutes gone at Leichhardt Oval. 0-0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. Big Sargent goes over the halfway line, and he's met by Rhodes there, having a big duel in the number 8s, and Blocker throws his headgear away and says, go and find it.
Good whiz that one, son. I'm glad you're back. Newcastle in possession. Back it goes into the arms of Carter. Backed into McCormack. McCormack's kick charge down. Picked up by Maguire. Straight back there to John Elias. He's wrapped up centre field 35 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Plays it to Freeman. Goes across now to Brasher. And Brasher hits it up strongly to the 40-metre line.
Okay, both sides have got to settle down yet in this game. Balmain are really at 6s and 7s at the moment. There's no pattern about their play at this present time. The forwards are bunched up, and right now Freeman has gone to dummy half, and the first player he finds is Michael Neal. So, you know, the forwards are really bunched up out there at the moment, and they're not playing to the pattern that they normally do. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Mark Sargent's had his headgear ripped off twice by Roach. Now, that can be ruled against the spirit of the game. You can be penalised for that, but that's twice.
It certainly is twice, and Sargent doesn't like playing without it.
We've got Newcastle in possession of the ball, racing through. There'll be a get square on that one, I feel sure. McCormack now plays it back to Carter. He gives it across to Glanville, who is knocked down 30 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Carter again, across now to McCormack, out this time to Hagan. Good pass to Doyle, who goes without the pill. Again left for Hagan to pick up the dregs on the halfway line for the Knights.
Kevin Hardwick has just copped a boot and to play the ball accidentally, but right in the head, and he's down in front of us in our commentary position, and there could be a cut there. We'll check on him in a moment. Now the ball goes back to
McCormack.
The halfback McCormack kicks it through to Gary Jack. He takes it well.
Yes, runs the mandatory distance too, and he's going to be held up this time and eventually knocked to the ground. Now 14 metres short of the halfway line by Glanville. Freeman a dummy half across to Brasher, then out to Grant. Grant again wrapped up this time.
Okay, Hardwick's going off, and Wayne Pearce. There'll be a mighty roar when Junior comes on. Balmain make the breakthrough. Elias to Maguire, and he's had support with him and didn't give it away.
Yeah, well, Allenson came in too to James Grant. There was an illegal play there, but Roach now a long pass. McCann didn't see it coming, but it's picked up by Gary Jack. And Jack now going to be wrapped up 30 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Plays it to Brasher. Across now to Benny Elias. A switch of play to Freeman. Back now to Michael Neal, who offloads this time to Sirinen. Sirinen has put it down. Tony Kemp goes through, picks it up, and and he knocks it on, but the touch judge is on, Peter.
Yeah, both touch judges on, and this will be against John Allenson for holding up a player in support. Beautiful break by Elias to Bruce Maguire. Maguire couldn't get the ball away to Tim Brasher because Allenson was hanging on to the man that was in support, and that was Brasher. Wayne Pearce on in jersey number 47 for Balmain, while Kevin Hardwick goes to the head bin. So it was Allenson hanging on to the jersey, and no, it wasn't Allenson, it was another player of...
it was Boyd, I think.
It was Boyd. It wasn't Allenson, it was Boyd. So my apologies to John Allenson.
Okay, and the man in question being spoken to, both touch judges, he's gone for 5.
For hanging on to the player.
Not in possession.
Not in possession of the football. So a lot of drama here at Leichhardt Oval this afternoon. Again, I just repeat that I apologise to John Allenson. It wasn't him at all. It was David Boyd. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
How undisciplined are this joint?
Which joint?
Newcastle. That's 2 in the bin and about 4 penalties, and they've missed about 3 or 4 as well. Anything goes with this mob.
Yeah, and okay, right now Roach and Sargent being spoken to, and that could be for Roach ripping off the headgear of Mark Sargent.
Yes, well, he got out of it lightly. The penalty was given, so Roach has been warned without a penalty coming, and he can thank his lucky stars for that one. That blocker wasn't pinched, but the penalty kick to be taken. 36 metres out by McCann from the Newcastle Knights goal line, and the kick is on. A deep one too, 10 metres away from the Knights goal line.
Okay, Balmain with one extra man with in the sin bin David Boyd. A good opportunity for them.
James Grant off the tap, that time from Ben Elias, is wrapped up 9 metres away from the Knights goal line. Ben Elias at dummy half, he gives it back to Roach again. They swarm in over the top of him. He's pulled down by Peter Johnson. He'll get up to play it also. Another forward in there, Glanville. It's back to Benny Elias again. A long pass out to Freeman, keeps it alive to Neal. Quick hands out to McCann. McCann straightens up and he's through the gap. We've got a Balmain try, and I feel the rot's going to set in here. They're opening right up, mate. I just feel it, Pete.
You can just feel it in your bones.
Oh, like a twoies.
Beautiful pass from dummy half by Ben Elias. It went 20 metres to Gary Freeman. A magnificent pass, and then Freeman kept it going, but it was Michael Neal's quick hands out wide is where the gaps appear in this Newcastle side, and it was between Hagan and McCormack that big Ian McCann just speared through a gap as wide as the Sydney Heads, but beautiful hands from Balmain, a magnificent dummy half pass from Ben Elias, a great pass from the halfback Gary Freeman to pick up Ginger Meg's Michael Neal, and Neal didn't. He just hot potatoed it straight out to McCann, and a magnificent rugby league try by Balmain. Quick hands, good long passes, and the gap appeared out wide, and that's where you got to play Newcastle. Excellent try to Balmain. They lead by 4-0. Quick hands by Elias and by Freeman and by Neal.
Okay, Jimmy Brasher, 18 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. A little bit of a shuffle as Brasher comes in, hits it nicely. What does the touchy say? They say no. It's waved away to the left-hand side, no goal.
Okay, 4 points to 0 in favour of Balmain over Newcastle, and Tim Brasher kicked very well at the football stadium last Wednesday, and I dare say that's why he's leading off the kicking this afternoon for Balmain. But a stray there, but a very good try to Balmain. They lead 4-0, and significant to note that this Newcastle side were playing with 12 men when that try was scored. As a result of the penalty, they got close, and on about the second or third tackle scored the try. 4-0 to the Tigers.
Underway again the game. McGarry in possession for the Balmain side, up to within 11 metres of his own goal line before being pulled down by Glanville. He'll get up to play it. Carter was also in there. Back it goes to Maguire off a good pass from bouncing Benny Elias. He's knocked to the ground. He plays it now again to Benny Elias. Across now to Sirinen going through, but a strong tackle, the first one by Carter, who's hurt the back of his neck. Plays it again back to Benny Elias across to Roach. He's taken on too by Sargent, and eventually back slammed. We'll get up to play it 31 metres out from the Balmain goal line. line. Once again to Benny Elias. He gives it across this time into the arms of McCann, putting a long kick downfield to Creaker. Marty Creaker in possession of the ball. He'll come just over his own quarter line before being pulled to the ground. He gets up now to play the ball, and Hagan going in there very quickly, but forward to the dummy half position first, across to John Allinson. He's going to be wrapped up out wide, I feel sure, as he goes to the ground under the tackle of McGarry. 35 metres out now from the Newcastle goal line. Once again, a little former trying to get away from the back of the ruck, but to no avail. He plays it across now. It goes into the arms of Big Sergeant charging forward, and he's going to be taken two over the top that time by McCann, who's doing a heck of a lot of tackling. Okay, it goes across now into the arms of Sammy Stewart, and Stewart is knocked to the ground on the halfway line. Back this time into the arms of Hagan again with a long kick downfield over the touchline on the full. So we're going back this time. The change over possession is the arm up. What's he going to do? Yes, it is to the Balmain side, a metre into Newcastle territory.
Yeah, and Greg, you're right. The signs are there that Newcastle are about to crack, and Balmain, their coach Warren Ryan, will be well aware of the fact that he can open them up out wide, and Newcastle well offside in the play the ball, and almost standing up about 3 metres from the Balmain backs, but they've got to do that because they lack pace.
Now we've got Maguire getting around, a bit of a step, gives it back to Wayne Pearce. Pearce turns to try and get away, but he's taken once again over the top that time by Glanville and company. Back now to Roach charging forward, was going to hold it up to see if he had anyone coming through. Johnny Elias was there, but he couldn't slip his pass away. Ben Elias at dummies from the back of the ruck, he's through the gap, he takes off, Freeman's got the ball, he just stands, Marty Creaker up, and they're cracked right open.
Brilliant bust by Benny Elias. Magical backing up by Gary Freeman. That's a beautiful football try. And that's brains and speed. And it'll beat Broad any time. And it was excellent play by Ben Elias. Raced away from the dummy half, through the dummy. He had support. Roach was up there supporting as well. But he picked it out. Hand-picked he was for the job. And Gary Freeman's gone in. He scored 2 tries last week. He's followed Elias through the rucks. And they've opened up Newcastle. Tries in the 18th minute and 22nd minute, and they could be on the end of another hiding this afternoon unless they tighten their defence up. Beautiful bust by Elias, and then a magical pass to Gary Freeman, and Freeman racing in. His support play reminds me a lot these days of Terry Lamb. Wayne Pearce comes to the sideline now, shakes hands with Kevin Hardwick and says, "You go back on." A little bit of a taste there for Junior. He'll be back. He's only coming back from injury this afternoon, and he'll get 10-15 minutes later on in the game.
Okay, Brasher coming in 9 metres out, smack dab in front, got the extra 2, the young Tiger, so they're just going to go away with this one, and I'm glad they are, because you've broken the Saturday mock.
They haven't done it yet, Greg. It's a bit early to be saying that.
I
23
feel
minutes.
so confident, son.
Oh, you're kidding. If anything can stop Balmain, you can. Warren Ryan's just collapsed. You tell him to shut up, he said, right through the glass.
Wazza wouldn't speak to me like that.
Well, he just did. Okay, 1 out of 2 for Tim Brasher, and it's 10 points to 0. If anything can stop Balmain this afternoon, it's Hartley. There's people saying, "Shut up, Hartley." Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, there he is, Balmain's Hasler. Gary Freeman, ever present, playing brilliantly, Freeman.
He certainly is playing brilliantly, and a brilliant Balmain try. 2 tries to 0, 10 points to 0 at the moment.
Sirenen now trying to struggle away from the tackle, but he's knocked out inside his own quarter line. A strong hitter too was from Glanville. Now it's gone back to Benny Elias. Dummies again. Nearly gets past McCormack and Sargent, but eventually knocked down. Only picked up 2 or 3 metres. And I don't know what Freeman was doing. He had his arms out. Looked like he was praying, but Roach wants to take him on now. And Roach charges up to within 30 metres of his own goal line. Plays it to Freeman. Back now to Benny Elias. Applies the pressure now with a kick well and truly downfield. Fulmer's going for it. So is Marty Creaker. Picking it up on his own goal line. Creaker coming up the Brasher. Can't get past them. And eventually he's knocked down now 30 metres out from the Newcastle line. Fulmer gives it across this time to Tony Kemp. He's well and truly wrapped up 30 metres out, 36 metres out from his own goal line.
This Newcastle side showing none of the determination and true grit that they showed last year. 5 of their forwards now are out in the centres at the moment, and none of the forwards are where they should be in that ruck area. Looking at them now, they're forming their back line. 5 of the forwards, Sam Stewart's gone inside to take some work, but the rest of them are out wide, loafing.
Stewart up now, plays it back into the arms of Carter, back to McCormack again, and McCormack gets his kick downfield. McGarry going across to take it again comfortably. He's got Gary Jack, he's not going to use him. Elects to run on his own and is knocked down 15 metres out from his own goal line.
25 minutes gone at Leichhardt Oval. Balmain 10, lead Newcastle 0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard.
Gary Jack for a bit of a run down the far flank, but he plays it now to McGarry across to Benny Elias to Brasher. Has a look, comes back inside. Stewart over the top to pull him down just outside his own quarter line. Benny Elias again at dummy half across to Roach. Goes through once again, has a look back, trying to flick it away. Now being called upon to play the ball as he goes to ground. He gets up the play, back to Benny Elias across to Freeman. Freeman a long pass out to James Grant, who fumbles. And the ball has gone over the touchline. Allinson's got hold of him again. He's an aggro boy, John Allinson. I don't know why.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because he's so slow, he's got to be aggro out there. If he gets hold of anyone, he's got to hang on to them. But he's like a draft horse playing against a thoroughbred.
Scrum to go down. And the front row have popped up. He's not happy with the Balmain side, giving now the Newcastle side a penalty 35 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
I don't blame James Grant for not taking that ball. It wasn't a good pass from Freeman. Actually, he did a good job to hang on to it for as long as he did.
Yep, that to stretch. There's Kemp now kicking for touch and finds it. Free kick to be taken by Scott Carter. Back to Allinson, charging forward. He wants to take on Sirinen, and Sirinen, to his credit, stops him, but it was still a strong run from Allinson. He's up the plate once again to Scott Carter, goes across now to McCormack, back this time to Sargent, bounces off one. John Elias is around the legs to pull him down. Quick play the ball once again to Carter, goes right out this time to Hagan to Doyle. Doyle gets around one, and we've got Neil now. And he's pinched the ball off him like a little thief. He pinched it, Petey. Back now across this time to Benny Elias. Out to Maguire, out to Gary Jack through the gap. Now jumping Jimmy Jack's away. He comes to Creeker, kicks over the top. He's got Freeman with him. Fulmer's back there very quickly to take the football and save a very awkward position for the Newcastle Knights.
Looks very good, Gary Jack, very fit and good strong run from him and good chase, and Freeman was there to chase. Newcastle now, Sam Stewart takes it up for them. They're down by 10 points to 0. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
To play the ball wouldn't have hurt then by Gary Jack. Was about the second tackle. Freeman was ranging up. He might have been better to hold on.
Okay, here's Newcastle now taking it up, and this Balmain defence very strong this afternoon. 10-0, 12 minutes out from half-time.
David Boyd now playing it once again. It goes to Sargent. He's going to be wrapped up. One tackle left to go. 10 metres short of the halfway line. He'll get up the plate back in Newcastle territory. Carter gives it back once again to McCormack, who gets his kick downfield. And Gary Jack, as Pete said, plenty of work this afternoon. Picks the ball up 10 out from his own goal line. A straight line of strong defenders up there, and in particular Hagan, who goes at Jack to pull him down 18 metres away from the Tigers goal line. We'll play it again to Benny Elias across this time to James Grant, trying to go through the forwards, but nevertheless picking up a 10-metre gain for his side. Playing it back to Ben Elias again to John Elias this time, and Peter Johnson came at him, missed him, fell off him, and it was left for Kemp to finish him off. It's back to Brasher, gives it out now to Benny Elias. Was going to start again, has a look, he gives a pass back inside this time to James Grant, goes across field. I thought he was going to pass it, but he's changed his mind as he's knocked down 30 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Freeman across to Roach. Roach is knocked to the ground that time. Boyd was around the legs. Sargent over the top. It's played to Freeman. Gives it back now to McCann. McCann getting his kick, and a long high one it is. Straight down to Creeker. Takes that ball just outside of his own quarter line. Gets away from Brasher, but eventually he's knocked down 38 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
10 minutes to go till half-time. Balmain tries to McCann and to Freeman, and they lead by 10 points to 0 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. Newcastle trying hard, but just outclassed at the moment, and too many of their forwards standing wide. Once again, out in the centre position, Sam Stewart. That's why he's been in reserve grade, Greg. You don't have to look at him for very long.
Yeah, he was caught screaming Peter through for his forwards to come with him, but he was...
well, the forwards are too wide. And
I know.
I mean, they're reversing their positions this afternoon.
I know, and as you say, out in the back line, hands are on the hips already with about 3 or 4 of them, so they're in a bit of bother. They've got one tackle left to go at the moment. McCormack gives it this time back into the arms of Peter Johnson. He puts a high, long kick down. Bounces in the in-goal area, but not out the back door. In fact, back towards his opposition goal line. Jack's there to pick it up, steps away from the first one, and brings it out some 6 metres or so before being knocked down over the top by Glanville.
Well, I've seen enough of Gary Jack in 30 minutes. If they want a New South Wales fullback that can do the job, and they're worried about Alexander's injury, well, Gary Jack's the man for the job for mine.
He's playing strongly, Peter. Penalty now.
Well, he's a class player too.
Sure is.
Penalty right in front. Surely take the 2 points.
Well, you'd think they'd do that, and the referee's saying, what are you doing? Yeah, the question's been asked, and Hagan said we are taking him, so the touch judges will go round to take up their position.
Well, it would have been just crazy not to, and coming up to have the shot at goal is the fullback, Marty Creaker.
Creaker now 15 metres out from the Balmain goal line, and more or less in front, if anything, to the left-hand side of the upright.
And if he misses this, he'll be up the Creaker.
And he will... Oh, I don't think... Well, I haven't seen him kick, so I can't say. But
well,
I would imagine...
20 out of 25 in reserve grade. But,
not a bad effort.
It's a good effort, but kicking in reserve grade and kicking in first grade is two completely different roles. I mean, there's no pressure in reserve grade. There is a ton of pressure on him right now.
He certainly is, and as I said, 15 metres out, a little to the left-hand side. A few of the Balmain players walking around on that mark.
And I don't think Roach and Elias are just wishing him all the best at the moment either.
Yeah, well, I don't think McCullum will be allowing any sledging either, just quietly.
Well, Blocker's not reciting the ode.
No, but he's talking to Benny. What's he saying? You are up. And there she goes. He's got the 2 points, but gee whiz, my grandmother could have thrown that one over.
OK, it's 10 points to 2 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard in favour of Balmain over Newcastle here this afternoon at Leichhardt Oval. There are 9 minutes remaining in the first half, so the Knights on the board, 10 points to 2. Creaker with a penalty goal from right in front of the uprights. Balmain 10, lead Newcastle 2. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Newcastle forwards are like the Loch Ness Monster. You know they're out there, but you can't find them.
There's the game now underway again off the boot of McCann. Taken beautifully too by John Allenson, a metre or two out from his own goal line, and a strong run right up to the quarter. That's what they need, but Sirenen comes at him and pushes him back an extra 2 metres or so before he hits the turf. It's played now out. It goes across to Sam Stewart off a pass, and I think he's crook now, young Scotty Carter, not running at all. Preparing to offload. He passes once again, this time to Michael Hagan. Freeman's there over the top to knock him down just outside the Newcastle Knights quarter line. Once again, Carter serves one up for Mark Glanville charging forward. He can only pick up an extra 6 metres or so. He's 30 away from his own goal line. Playing it again back to Scott Carter. Sends it across to Sargent. And Sargent trying to make every post a winner, but he's taken by Benny Elias over the top. Stephen Roach down around the legs. Scotty Carter again at dummy half. He elects to run this time and kicks from the back of the ruck again, forcing Gary Jack to go across. Takes possession back inside of his own quarter line. The centres are up there. He gives it back to McGarry, who can hike. McGarry comes forward. Oh, but he's taken. That is a beautiful tackle that time by Peter Johnson. Plays it to Freeman across to Neil. Turns it back inside to Brasher. Can't get past the tackle of Sam Stewart over the top. Peter Johnson down around the legs. He's pulled down. He'll play it to Michael Neil across to Freeman. Long pass out to Ben Elias. Gives it to James Grant. Tries to go back inside. Kemp and Allenson combined to pull him down 15 short of the halfway line in Balmain territory.
Well, Balmain are very much trying to get James Grant a run at Allenson, but pretty heavy on this side of the field. On the left-hand side as Grant is playing, and they haven't been able to do that this afternoon, but I'm sure they're going to persevere with it. The difference between these two sides is that Newcastle are predictable and Balmain are unpredictable with the ball in their hands. Balmain know what Newcastle are going to do, and Newcastle have got no idea whatsoever what Balmain are going to do, and that's why the scoreline's 10-2 to Balmain at the moment.
Doyle in possession now for the Newcastle side. Big and strong, but beautifully taken too on the far side. It was a good tackle by Timmy Brasher. He plays it now to Stevie Former across to Hagan. Dummies tries to go through the gap until he meets up with Roach and Maguire. Ooh, what an awesome twosome. Back it goes once again, this time to Boyd. Boyd charging forward, 11 metres short of the halfway line, still in Newcastle territory. Scotty Carter again at dummy half across this time to Sargent. Had a look for support. He had Peter Johnson with him, changed his mind and went to ground under the tackle of Hardwick. Plays it to Carter again, gives it back to McCormack. Once again getting another kick down to Gary Jack. They're a mile offside. Jack has taken possession of the ball. Gets away from the first one, can't get away from the second one, and he's pulled to ground just outside the Balmain quarter line.
Was touched in flight, Greg, and the referee gave a clear signal there that the Newcastle players were indeed onside. James Grant to Freeman. He goes straight up the centre.
Yeah, had a look back for support and unavailable that time. Plays it now to John Elias. He gives it back to Maguire. Maguire looked back to offload. Couldn't do it. Plays it again now to Freeman. Out it goes to Roach, to Freeman again, to Sirenen standing very wide. He tries to take the football right up towards the halfway line. He's only 8 metres short of it. Still in Balmain territory as he's knocked to the ground.
Okay, a couple of minutes remaining. 5 till half-time.
Intercept by Fulmer. He's got support on the outside, on the inside. Couldn't get to him quick enough. There's got to be something wrong with Carter. He just loped up there. Back now it goes to Peter Johnson. He gives it back again, this time to Carter. Carter running with a little bit more venom now. Tried to duck under one, but eventually pulled down by Roach. It's now with McCormack. He gives it across to Sammy Stewart. Stewart tries to go through the gap. Strong run still, having a look to offload. Gets it away. It was meant for Tony Kemp. It's gone back, touched in flight.
6 more.
6 more as
It's a
Stewart
good
plays
chance
it.
for Newcastle right on half-time.
McCormack now trying to run. And Sirenin up over the top, throws a swinging arm too. He's got to be pulled out. He's going to call him. No, he's going to call him to play it.
No, he's not.
He's
going
got
to
the
caution him.
pinch.
He's come straight in there.
He knows he's done the wrong thing.
Swinging arm by Sirenin right in front of the post. That's a stupid penalty from a player of Sirenin's status, and that's just frustration there. Ben Elias says something to him. Wayne Pearce goes on, and Kevin Hardwick goes off again. He's been to the head bin, so Pearce on 3 from half-time. That's it. He's out of the game now. Kevin Hardwick replaced by Wayne Pearce. So Pearce now with just over 40 minutes in the game, and he's got a cut eye, Kevin Hardwick. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
He certainly has. There's a big cut under that right eye. He's having problems, but Pearce is on now.
Pearce is on now for Balmain, and a half a game today will be just great for Wayne Pearce, who's been out for, well, this is his first appearance in the Winfield Cup Premiership after being injured in the Channel 10 knockout. So Junior's back in jumper number 47 for Balmain, gradually getting back to somewhere near full strength. Here's Marty Creaker with another easy one right in front of the uprights, and should make it 10-4 right on half-time, 3 minutes away.
A better position too, 18 metres out, smack dab in front. He's got it over for the night, so they're slowly crawling their way back into this game.
Creaker kicks his second penalty goal, and it's 10 points to 4 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. We're 3 minutes out from half-time, and Newcastle yet to score a try in this game. Balmain have scored 2. Ian McCann and Gary Freeman in the space of 4 brilliant minutes by Balmain in the 18th and 22nd minute, and then Newcastle clawing their way back in with 2 penalty goals late in the half. It's 10-4 to Balmain over Newcastle, so still plenty of football left in this game. Allenson.
They're inside his own goal line, taking it. Well, he ducked under the tackle, or tried to, of Maguire, who put him down. He caught one in the gob, but he's a strong young bloke. As we see now, Sammy Stewart knocked to the ground. He'll get up the plate, back to Carter, gives a good pass across once again to Peter Johnson. Had a look back, Kemp was there, but it was too late to pass. He'll play it once again to Scotty Carter. Off now to Allenson again, comes inside, tries to step away this time from the tackle of Freeman, but it's good, and Elias over the top. It's gone across this time to McCormack. Back this now to Sargent charging forward. He runs it up to within the 30-metre line. 1 tackle left to go to the Knights, says the referee, as it goes into the arms once again of McCormack. Another good-looking kick downfield. The downtown is certainly on, as we see. Jumping Jimmy Jack, picking it up on his own goal line. Kemp's down there. He offloads out now. This time to James Grant. Steps away from one. Has a look back, and Jack says no. Go to ground. Jack a dummy, half 10 metres short of the halfway line. Gives it across this time to Wayne Pearce, trying to go through the gap, but he's wrapped up by Carter and Sargent. Up the play it again, back to Benny Elias. I detected it. Yeah, I thought it was, but he said no, he's held it up.
No, well, he didn't. He knocked it on. The referee didn't see it. But anyway, let's get on with it. Only 1 minute 24 seconds remaining in the first half. Newcastle standing very shallow now, trying to stop Balmain from moving it. And, there's Maguire passing it to Boyd, and then Boyd losing it, and Maguire getting it back.
Yeah, 6 again ruled. John Elias gives it out now to Roach. Roach throws one this time to Hagan, who called for it. It goes out now to Tony Kemp. Kemp's going to be knocked to the ground. He'll get up and play it. James Grant was the tackler. Back it goes to Hagan. Across this time to Robbie McCormack. Out wide this time to Boyd. Boyd tries to come inside Maguire, but he's going to be wrapped up 9 metres over the halfway line in Balmain territory. Up again to Platt, this time to Creaker. But a penalty now, rolling it straight through the legs. It's an unforgivable mistake, giving Balmain a penalty. 8 metres on their own side of the halfway line.
Yeah, David Boyd, the player in question there. Boyd had no right to be in the back line there. There was a 5-man to 3-man set up there for Newcastle. Quick hands out wide to the speed men, and there could have been something on, but Boyd was out there, hung onto the ball, came back inside, and then that unpardonable error of not playing the ball properly, and a penalty to Balmain right on half-time. 10 points to 4, only 17 seconds left. I'll be surprised if Elias doesn't put it straight up.
Okay, he taps, he doesn't, he gives it to Freeman, out it goes to Maguire. Maguire bounces off one, but eventually he's taken 30 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
Well, I know Elias will be looking at the clock. It's got to go up.
It's got to go up and up. Well, he was going to have a shot at a field goal. He has a shot now. Dreadful looking kick along the ground, more or less. Picked up once again, this time by McCormack, who was back there with Creaker. But he's pulled down on the Newcastle quarter line. Half time.
10 points to 4 at half-time. Balmain lead Newcastle. For Balmain, Gary Freeman and Ian McCann tries. And Tim Brasher has 1 from 2 this afternoon. And for Newcastle, 2 goals from 2 attempts to their goal kicker this afternoon, their fullback, Marty Creaker. 2 from 2 for Creaker. 10 points to 4 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. And at the half-time break, the scrums, only 1 clear scrum in the game. 1-0 to Newcastle. And the penalties are 5-all. 1-0 the scrum to Newcastle and 5-all the penalties. Scoreline 10 points to 4, and Balmain scoring their 2 tries in the space of 4 minutes. And it looked like Newcastle would open up at that particular stage in the game, but they've clawed their way back into it. It's 10-4 at half-time to the Balmain side. Half-time summary from none other than Gavin Miller. Gavin, it's been a game where Balmain have always looked the classier outfit. I said during the first half that Balmain are unpredictable with a ball, where Newcastle are very predictable.
Well, it's been a fairly lacklustre performance from both teams. You know, in particular Newcastle, they've looked to shift the ball, but they've been fairly pedestrian in their forwards, haven't they? It's just one out stuff, and they haven't got a great deal of variation in their forward play at all. I know that Michael Hagan is endeavouring to get their backs moving and has created a few opportunities on the outside for the Newcastle side, but all in all, there has been a fairly lacklustre performance from them, particularly with the ball. They've been their own worst enemy, Peter. Their discipline in the first quarter of the game was very, very poor. When you bear in mind that the first penalty came from a high shot from Kemp, then they conceded the ball 3 times in the first set of 6. It's just been a lacklustre performance from them, and yet they're still in the game. 10-4, and at this stage I thought Balmain to go away with the game, but they haven't.
Well, Balmain in the last couple of weeks, we've seen them press the button in the second half, and I got the impression in the first half that they could crack them almost at will. They did in the space of 4 minutes twice with the opening try to McCann, 2 beautiful passes from one from Elias to Freeman, and then from Freeman to
it was
Michael
a set
Neal.
play. Yeah,
that was good stuff.
But the thing about it, on both occasions that they've had someone in the sin bin while they've scored those tries. They've been a man down.
Yeah, they certainly have, and that's just crazy for.
Well, you can't afford that against any team, let alone Balmain.
You certainly can't. But I agree with you. Balmain aren't all that crash off today.
Well, the thing about Newcastle, which I've noticed and has created a number of opportunities for Ben Elias, is that
in the first half he's got blurred vision and stitches under the eye.
Okay, so here we go for the second half, and it is 10 points to 4 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. Brasher takes the kick-off, and he makes it up almost to his own quarter line before he's tackled by Stewart.
Back it goes now to Elias, straight out into the arms of Paul Suranen, and a strong run from Ciro outside his own quarter line to be pulled to the ground. Ben Elias again at dummy half, this time to Maguire. Maguire pulled down now 30 metres out from the Balmain goal line. Ben Elias at dummy half, back now to Gary Jack, putting a high kick up downfield, and gee, where's Creaky taking that ball? He fumbled it, manages to hang on to it, and he's pulled down now 35 metres out from the Balmain goal line. He'll get up now to play the ball, and it goes across straight into the arms of Former. Former knocked to the ground. He'll give it straight back this time to Stewart, and Stewart is knocked down. He'll get up to play the ball 8 metres short of the halfway line. Back it goes across now to Peter Johnson. Johnson going to be wrapped up. Too strong defence from Brasher and also Michael Neal. He'll play the ball once again. Peter Johnson getting up. Back it goes to Carter. Out to Boyd. Good pass to Allenson. Ruled forward by the referee. Gee, there wasn't much in that one, Peter.
Certainly wasn't. Balmain player down injured, and he's receiving attention. I can't pick him up at the moment. I'll check on him. You just worry about the scrum. It'll be a scrum feed to Balmain. It's Bruce Maguire down. He's got a throat injury, but he's being treated at the moment. So it's a scrum to go down, a 5-man scrum for the Balmain side.
Freeman walking up now to work this for the Balmain side. They win it. The Tigers out now to Neal, to Gary Jack. Good pass to pick up Brasher wide. It goes to McCann. He can't hang on to it, but Brasher supports his player. Picks up the ball on the bounce. Goes through the gap. Has a look back for support. McGarry was with him, but he's pulled down 12 metres into Newcastle territory. Freeman across now to Wayne Pearce. Strong run, but a good strong tackle too by Fulmer. Drops Wayne Pearce. Goes across now to Freeman. Out a long pass this time to Michael Neal. Can't get away from the tackle of Peter Johnson, and he's pulled down now 38 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
This is the period of play where in the last couple of weeks that Balmain have really pressed the go button. Let's see if they do it today.
Pearce out now, McCann. McCann's got Brasher on the inside. He's also got McGarry out wide. Turns it back inside to Maguire. Beautifully taking it by one arm. trying to play the ball now. And eventually he does. Back to McCann. It goes across this time to Neil. A long pass out to Benny Elias to Gary Jack. Jack takes off. He gets his pass out now to James Grant, who gets around one. Allenson comes at him. He steps away. He takes off again. He's going to score for Balmain. Well, there he goes. As Peter wants to call him, Jimmy Grant.
Yeah, Jimmy Grant's gone in and scored the try. And I did say that he would score a try this afternoon against John Allenson, and that's happened. And Allenson just clutching at him there. And the try being scored by the Balmain Tigers. A very good try to Balmain. The ball went out along the back line, and a good pass from Ben Elias out wide to Gary Jack. Gary Jack was held by the centre three-quarter from Newcastle, Kemp, and then it was James Grant. Now Allenson had hold of his jersey and spun him around and spun him into the clear, and James Grant's gone in and scored the try. 14 points to 4 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard, and that try coming in the first 3 minutes of the second half. And exactly how Balmain have played it in the last couple of weeks, they're playing it again here this afternoon. Conservatively in the first half, and then opening up straight after half-time. A try to James Grant, and they now lead by 14 to 4.
Okay, we've got Demi Brasher now 10 metres out, a little to the left-hand side. And he should certainly put this one over as he comes in. He hits it, he stab kicks it. Oh, as soon as he stab kicked it, it went straight away to the right-hand side. Well, no goal.
Why he stabbed it didn't go through with it, as he should with a goal kick.
Yeah.
I'll never know. He stabbed at it, and it was an awful-looking kick. 1 from 3, 14 points to 4 in favour of Balmain over Newcastle. That's a terrible attempted conversion by Tim Brasher, who should know better. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Unsolved mysteries of the world. Allenson in a country team on the wing.
Okay, and right now Brasher makes it up to the quarter line.
Yes, knocked down, getting up to play the ball forward. No marker at home, all gone to sleep. The hen and penny chickens. You get up there to play it back to Elias.
Greg, here's a break by Steve Roach to Elias, and Elias has knocked the ball backwards.
Six tackles.
Greg,
Okay.
Warren Ryan replaced John Allenson in that in the City First of Origin game on Wednesday, and replaced him with a young fellow that plays in a second division competition in Newcastle. So I don't think you had to be any football brain to know that there was going to be plenty of traffic going his way this afternoon.
Back it goes now to Freeman. Long pass across to Michael Neal. Out to Brasher, then into the arms of McCann. He's
shocking pass by McCann. A basketball Gene Miles pass, and he threw it at the ground. No hope there for McGarry to take it, and it was forward, and it was a dreadful pass. Scrum to go down just on the Balmain side of halfway. McCormick to feed, and Newcastle needs something from somewhere. Scrum win against the feed, is it, the Balmain?
If it comes out the back of the Balmain pack, but they've got the penalty, and he didn't realise that. He's got the man on his back in the scrum, and that's a night. There's no doubt about it, Scotty Carter. So he's given the penalty to the Balmain side right on the halfway line, 10 metres in from touch.
Well, Elias and Carter did battle at the football stadium on Anzac Day, and they're continuing that here this afternoon. And I think Benny would have rather have had the scrum win against the feed than the penalty, because it would have given him some satisfaction. But team-wise, the right things happen. Here's McGarry now from the tap.
Yeah, charging forward. He's about 18 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Elias gives it now back to Roach, getting some momentum going. Turns the ball back to Freeman. No, it didn't. It went astray. It's been knocked on to by Creaker. So a scrum will go down 10 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
Well, that was an impossible pass to get away. I know he got one away last week and Freeman scored, and the little fellow followed the big fellow there, but I think that was a little bit, they were hoping for too much there. Should have taken the tackle on the second tackle, only 10 metres out. There would have been a lot of trouble for Newcastle. Right now, Creaker runs it out for the Newcastle side, makes it up to his quarter. Newcastle trail on the Mitsubishi scoreboard by 14 points to 4. Crowd 6,415.
Glanville in possession, 28 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Up the play it back to Scott Carter, across now to Hagan. Good pass out this time to Tony Kemp. Went down on one leg, gets up the go again, picks up Carter in support, who finds Peter Johnson coming through the centre of the ruck, but he's pulled down now 15 metres short of the Balmain goal line. Scott Carter at dummy half across to McCormack. Good pass once again to Jeffrey Doyle. Doyle charging forward. He's going to be held up 10 metres from the halfway line. Still in Newcastle territory. Kemp at dummy half decides to have a go on his own. Will try to get around. He pops one up too for Carter. Good pass across to Peter Johnson. His kick is charged down. Play on, says the referee. No, he doesn't. The arm has gone up. Off the back, he's ruled. So we've got Balmain taking possession of the football 40 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
Greg, they're awful, Newcastle. I mean, there was a frustrated forward there, not knowing what to do with it.
He's kicked 3 times, Johnson.
Yeah, and he just kicked the ball there, not knowing really what they were doing. They've got a lot to pick up their game with this Newcastle side, and gee, it's going to be a shame if they lose that tremendous hometown support they've got, but they've got a lot of work to do, and the directors of the club have got a lot of buying to do. They've got to get some class into the side. They've been in long enough now to produce something a bit better than what they're showing today.
Okay, in possession now, Maguire back now, it goes to Ben Elias across, now to Stephen Roach, that little sidestep's working for the big blocker. But he's pulled down now, one tackle left to go, 9 metres out from the Knights goal line. It goes to Freeman, to Ben Elias, good pass to Brasher, steps back inside of one, keeps it alive. He tried, it came off the head of one player, but it's picked up now by Peter Johnson, 8 metres out from his own goal line. Knights in possession of the ball, as we see Carter giving one again across to Marty Creaker, but he's pulled down 11 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. It's played to Carter again, gives it across this time into the arms of the big fella Sargent going forward, but he stopped just short of his own quarter line.
Well, I tell you what, they just will not pass the ball to Newcastle forwards. It's one out all the time, and really you need a court order to get it off half of them.
Now we've got Scott Carter at dummy half across to Boyd. Boyd tries to muscle his way past, but he's pulled down by Wayne Pearson. Brasher plays it again to Carter, gives it out this time to Doyle. Plenty of pace, big and strong pass picked up beautifully by Boyd on the first bounce. Up towards the halfway line. The one tackle rule says the referee change of possession, give the ball to Balmain.
I think the Newcastle trainer wanted Boyd to come off, and Carter to come off, and he refused. He just shrugged him away. And I really think that he was told to come off there. We noted he was injured in the first half, and I think he's refused.
Okay, Wayne Pearce now trying to get up towards the halfway line. He's 6 metres short of it, still in Tiger territory. Ben Elias gives it out to Maguire, who keeps it alive. Back now to Mickey Neal. He tries to fend off one. He does so too, but eventually he's taken that time by Boyd on the halfway strip. He'll get up to play it back again to Ben Elias. Goes across to Freeman. Good pass to blocker. Freeman on the wraparound. Had McCann going one way. No, Shepherd says the referee. He didn't try to do, and he's picked up, and Glanville has just did a 360 with little Freeman, and the referee's responded accordingly with a penalty. That is a dangerous tackle.
Yeah, I think it is too, Greg.
You're darn tooting it is too, Greg.
Yeah, they picked him up from underneath.
That's a dangerous tackle.
Flipped him straight over on his back. It wasn't on his neck, but I still agree with you. There was no need for it, and right now they find themselves inside their own quarter again. I don't be too critical of Newcastle because I admire their courage, but you've got to have a bit more than that in the Winfield Cup.
Balmain in possession inside the Newcastle quarter line. I'm not having a shot at him either, but we'll call it the way we said. Maguire had a little look that time and managed for Benny Elias to dive on the ball.
He's had an awful game, Bruce Maguire. If he was going to get in or out on today's performance, he'll be out and beaten for a second row spot by Brad Mackay in the State of Origin side if he was going to play for a spot today.
We've got
the selector Don Furness here, and Maguire's had a horror. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, he certainly has. Could be an excuse, though. He took a very heavy knock from Stewart in a tackle. Remember, he went down the throat area.
Newcastle in possession of the football. Going across is Mark Glanville for the Newcastle side. Tries to step away from one. A strong run. Extra Tigers arriving on the scene to put him down. This time Maguire. He'll get up the play it back now to Scott Carter. Gives it across this time to Big Mark Sargent. Again trying to charge forward, but he's met with strong resistance and held up. Called upon to play it back. It goes once again. This time to Peter Johnson. He copped the nasty knock. 2 up over the top from Maguire. He'll get up the play it again back to Scotty Carter. Sends it this time to McCormack. Getting his kick downfield. That was a very hurried kick this time. James Grant going back to retrieve possession for the Balmain side. Starts his run. Hagen's up there, but he can't hang on to him. He's going to step Sam Stewart, but eventually Stewart getting to him to pull him down. 11 metres short of the halfway line. Now it's Freeman's turn at dummy half. He gives it across to Tim Brasher. Oh, Brasher nearly through the gap. The arm of the referee was up.
The arm was well up, Greg. Brasher put on another spurt when he saw the penalty. There was a big gap there.
Oh, when he heard the whistle.
Yeah, the referee had already committed himself to a penalty. There's McCann, a big-looking kick. Is it going to find touch?
Oh, is it going to find touch? It's found touch a foot from the
well, it wasn't
Newcastle
a good kick
goal
because
line.
It landed well in the field of play. Elias to take a quick tap.
Yes, he's up very quickly. He takes the tap now. Oh, tries to go on his own. He's over the line, but he's had the ball reefed out of his possession. Held up as the referee. What's he going to put? A 5-yard scrum down? Or was made dead by Kemp in the in-goal, but he's going to go for the scrum, Peter.
Tony Butterfield on for Newcastle.
Okay, Butterfield going on in number 41, waiting to see. 6 still going down into that pack.
Mark Sargent's off for Newcastle.
Well, he's been one of their better forwards, Pete, taking it forward and taking 3 out of the line all the time.
Well, he's El Stuffo. I think he played on Wednesday, of course, and he may be feeling the pinch a bit. He doesn't look too happy coming off.
McCormack now reining it up from within 10 metres of his own goal line.
We've had 12 minutes of play in the second half. Balmain 14, lead Newcastle 4.
Butterfield up for the first play of the ball for him this afternoon. It goes across now to Hagan, out to Glanville. Oh, the pass goes out now to Doyle. Good one on to Fulmer, got plenty of pace too, but it's been ruled forward by the referee. Did you find fault with that one, Zorba?
Just, Greg, and I'm beautifully in line with it.
You're just beautiful, Zorba.
He's been one of their best players, Jeff Doyle. He's tried very, very hard today, and unlike some of his teammates, he knows how to pass the football.
Yeah. Freeman coming up to work this one for the Balmain side. The feed is on. They've won it. Across now to Michael Neal as it goes to Brasher. Brasher gives it to McCann. McCann with not a lot of room to start and move, and he's easily pulled down by Tony Kemp. And also Michael Hagan. He'll play it again to Freeman. Gives it across now to Wayne Pearce. Tries to go through the centre of the ruck, but Butterfield's there to put him away. He'll get up again to play it back to Benny Elias. He sends a long, long pass across to Michael Neal, who had first call that time. Oh, it's a good kick by little Mickey Neal. Out the touchline, 10 metres out from the Newcastle goal line.
Yeah, good kick there by Neal, and territorially it's been all Balmain today. They wouldn't be 100% happy with their form this afternoon. They've played within themselves, I think, today. They've pressed the go button on several occasions, but I'm sure Coach Warren Ryan wants to see them lift their standard this afternoon. This is not as good as we've seen them play in recent weeks.
Certainly not in this scrum. It's a diabolical one. It's been popping up. He's blown the whistle 3 times. It's walked off the mark 5 metres. He's sending them back inside the mandatory 10. McCormack's come up to work this for the Knights. They've won it. Dreadful scrum. Now that didn't even go, and he was prepared to roll that. Now, I don't agree with those sort of penalties, Peter.
No,
but that one he didn't even try to get it in.
Well, I don't care. There shouldn't be any penalties for second row feeds. I know that was blatant, but not any more blatant than we've seen.
He rolled it along the side, mate.
Yeah,
he didn't even go under one leg.
You don't give penalties for second row feeds. You just don't, because nobody else is. And we criticised the referee a couple of weeks ago in Eddie Ward, and I'll criticise McCallum for it too.
Okay, Wayne Pearce now trying to go forward. He's going to be wrapped up once again by Sammy Stewart. He'll get up to play at centre field. 11 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Back to Elias, across now to Roach, picks up Jack, gives it to Brasher. Going to be held up out wide, eventually knocked to the ground. We'll play at 18 metres out from the Newcastle goal line to Freeman. Again across to Gary. Jack straightens up, nearly goes through too. Pulled down 10 metres out from the Knights goal line. He'll play it to Benny Elias. He looks open side, down the blind side goes Sirenen. Just pushes one out of the way, pops a pass up for James Grant. Flicks it back to Brasher. Brasher tried to offload, but has gone along the ground, and the referee has ruled a knock on, so we're going to see a scrum go down.
Beautiful hands by James Grant there to take that pass and then give the ball back inside. Marvellous reflexes, and he's looking into the sun, and how he took the ball I'll never know, and how he got it away. It was a beautiful bit of football by James Grant, who has certainly got all the credentials to be a very, very good player. He's a very good player, but to be even better than that. McCann now only 12 metres out. Good opportunity for Balmain. They could even swing it to the blind side very quickly here. One more ruck and then they'll go up the blind side. Here they come.
John Elias back to Benny Elias. He steps 1 or 2, still going. He's out. No, he's not. He's lost it over the line, yeah, so they're going back to the quarter line.
That's the second time today Benny's got close, and he's lost the ball over the goal line. He went for the try line, stepped, went inside Sam Stewart, got to the line, got short of the line actually, and then lost it. So he really knocked that ball on before the goal line, Greg. He didn't get to the try line. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
He's going to make a tackle in a minute, this Newcastle trainer.
He's certainly spending a lot of time on the field. They better use him.
Back now to Sammy Stewart, trying to run very hard for the Newcastle side, but he's held up this time.
The trainer is pleading with someone to pass the ball.
Neal, now it goes back again. Back this time to Boyd. Boyd hits it up strongly too. He's about 15 metres short of the halfway line. In the centre of the ground, Scott Carter picks up once again Michael Hagan for a long pass to Doyle. Miraculously went back into the arms that time of Creaky, but he's going to be held up too. He'll play the ball. Back it goes to Hagan.
Not Creaky.
I said Creaker.
You're right, you said Creaky.
No, you thought I said Creaky.
No, you said Creaky,
back
boy.
It goes to McCormack. Don't pick me up. I'm telling you what I said.
I don't care what you said.
You heard it wrong.
Yeah, I heard it right.
Yes, back it goes now into the Newcastle Knights. Boyd, and Boyd gets a kick downfield. A chase on. Fulmer's onside, says the referee. He's got 1 foot to it, but Gary Jack catches up with it, and he dives on it 35 metres out from the line. It's played now to Freeman, across now to Ben Elias, out wide to James Grant. He tries to step away, comes back inside, gives it to Wayne Pearce. Pearce goes around 1 or 2. Doyle's going to catch up with Wayne, and eventually he's going to be knocked down 38 metres out from the Balmain goal line. We'll get up to play it to Paul Sirenen, wanting to go again from the back of the ruck. Just fends one away. Geez, Fulmer Well, he just pushed him away, Zorba.
Yeah, he certainly did, but he should. He's about three times bigger than Little Fulmer. Fulmer showed plenty of heart to go down below him. Some of his forwards should be ashamed that they're not there instead of him. Here's Roach going for a run, and he's well put down. Good tackle by Sam Stewart, and somebody underneath.
Yeah,
we can see his rump. Butterfield's rump it was.
Back now it goes. Freeman's busting him again. He had a look. He's got Brasher on the inside. Didn't look, but there was a man between both of them. Brasher scored. No, he didn't. He's knocked it on. He did everything right till the death, and he just couldn't hang on to it, knocking it on over the line. Yeah, good run by Gary Freeman. Good kick ahead. Brasher did everything right, and he's got marvellous hands, but couldn't hang on to the ball on that occasion. Exciting bit of play. Good run by Freeman. Good backing up by Brasher. Maybe he should have taken the tackle or tried the pass instead of the kick, but Freeman did it, and he doesn't normally make too many mistakes. Here's Newcastle now. Butterfield makes it up 30 metres out. Newcastle haven't been in Balmain's territory in the entire 18 minutes of the second half. Balmain have got camping rights inside the Newcastle territory. Stewart now up the play. It back it goes to Carter. Good pass across now to Mark Glanville. And he's going to be knocked to the ground 5 metres short of the halfway line. Still in Newcastle territory. Once again, it's gone across to Scott Carter. Out this time to Stewart. Then on to Hagan. Hagan through the gap. He looks back inside. He's got Kep with him. Kep takes it, but he was offside. The pass was forward. No risk in the world. The referee beautifully positioned. Hagan through the gap, and then throwing the pass, taking the odds to it and not coming off. 14 points to 4, Balmain lead Newcastle. Half-time score was Balmain 10, Newcastle 4. And right now we've got Balmain in possession from the scrum win. We have. Goes across to McCann out wide again. This time to Tim Brasher. Steps inside Fulmer. Tries to come away from Kemp. Manages to do it. Kemp dives around the legs this time to pull him down. It was Hagan that went up very quickly, and he was stepped. He'll play the ball. McCann once again from the back of the ruck. He picks up another 10 metres or so up to the halfway line. Again, centre field. Ben Elias once again at dummy half. He looks for support. Goes on his own, then offloads out this time to Maguire. Maguire tried to come back inside, but there was too many defenders there, and he's knocked down. He'll play it once again to Benny Elias across this time to big Paul Sirinen charging forward. He's 35 metres out from the Newcastle goal line as he goes down. Sirenen's having a much better second half. Steve Roach obviously feeling the effects of 2 games in a week, but he needs to get more involved. Wayne Pearce now giving it back to Roach. Roach got plenty of petrol left in him as he goes forward right up towards the quarter line. Newcastle into the ground. 1 tackle left to go. Freeman a dummy half. A long pass across to Ben Elias again. Drops it off the end of the tape. Beautifully picked up by Fulmer. Beautifully picked up by Fulmer back in his own quarter area. Okay, Paul Marquis on for the Newcastle side. Paul Marquis. Marquis is on, okay. Now we've got Newcastle in possession again with Stewart. Stewart charging forward, but he's going to be wrapped up once again by Wayne Pearce. You used to be pretty good at French. You're not so good these days. I'm not so good these days. Just concentrate on calling the game. That's all you're going to do. Lost your French teacher. Allenson now. I got a new teacher. Oh, he's busted him open down the far flank. He's going to come. He's got a man on the inside, but he's taken by Gary Jack just outside the Balmain quarter line. Did he have a man on the inside then, Zorba? Yeah, he certainly did, Greg. He tried to take Jimmy Jack on. He was holding the ball in front of him. I don't know what that was supposed to mean, but Gary Jack didn't fall for it. But good to see Newcastle make a break. Scotty Carter hauls one up. Oh, this is McCormack. McCormack going. Had McQueen coming through, but he's been put out of business without the ball. Now, what's going to happen there? Change of possession to the Balmain Tigers. Yeah, Balmain in possession now on the last tackle, and change over of possession. Balmain in possession now, and up over the quarter line goes the strong centre three-quarter Ian McCann. And just outside the quarter line, he'll get up the plate again back to Ben Elias. He gives it across this time to John Elias, who tries to duck under one, and eventually he's knocked to the ground. He'll get up the plate. Ben Elias at dummy half once again. Sirinen calling for it. Charging forward too, had a look back, but he's pulled down by Sammy Stewart and Hagan over the top. Get up again to play the ball back. It goes to Michael Neal, out to Ben Elias, getting another kick downfield. Fulmer going up comfortably to take that one. Can't stand up McGarry's got hold of him, but then extra troops arrived on the scene to put him away in the form of Timmy Brasher. Now it's Jeffrey Doyle from the back of the ruck. He's going to be taken by McGarry around the legs, 30 metres out from the Balmain goal line. 19 minutes left for play at Leichhardt Oval. Balmain 14, lead Newcastle 4 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard. The Knights still showing plenty of fight and looking for their first try of the game, and there's going to be another replacement now for the Newcastle side. That's Marquette coming on now. Marquette about to come on. Who's to come off? Whoever it is not going. Oh, geez, Butterfield charging forward too, but he's knocked down. and the referee's blowing a penalty to the Newcastle side.
Sam Stewart's supposed to go off, but he's ignoring Marquette on the sideline.
Marquette, okay. Well, he won't come off, and Marquette's standing on the touchline, dying to get on, but the referee says play on. So the free kick to be taken now by Scotty Carter. Coming into the mandatory 10, he goes from that position back to McCormack. He tries to step Ben Elias. He does so. He's going to go in. Is he? No! Just pulled down by the shirt tail by Maguire. Back now to Carter. Goes across out now to Hagan. Hagan a long pass. It was a beauty. Power finds Tony Kempton out to Allenson, but he can't get around the tackle that time on the far side of Jimmy Grant. He'll play the ball once again. Back it goes to Kemp. Kemp comes centre field. Tries to step and weave his way through, but he's picked up again. Good tackle by John Elias. First man in for the hit. It's gone to Carter. Goes across to, this time, Butterfield again racing forward, but he's picked up by Maguire. 5 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
This is better stuff by Newcastle. There's Carter from dummy half. Almost in. He can see it and smell it, but isn't quite there.
Peter Johnson tried to kick it from the back of the ruck. He says play on it. Bounced up into his arms again. McCormack tries to get it out the back door. He does to Glanville. Out it goes now into the arms of Hagan again on a long pass to Sam Stewart. Looks at the corner, charges forward, keeps it alive once again. Oh, but Seranen, the big man, he goes up to take it. He's knocked it back to his own touchline. That was a miracle.
Yeah, it was, but good play by Newcastle. That's their first bit of enterprise in the game, and they worried Balmain there. Had they picked up a converted try, they would have really been back in this game when quite frankly, they haven't ever been in that situation in this game. But right now, they need a converted try, and it'll be an interesting final 16 minutes. But they've got to score next. If Balmain score next, then the game is as good as over. I think it is now, actually.
Roach in possession of the ball. He will get up the plat. Back it goes to Brasher, across now to Benny Elias, and Elias gets his kick in downfield. Cricket coming across to take it. He does too, up over the halfway line. Steps one, goes through, but eventually he's wrapped up 40 metres out from the Balmain goal line by McCann. He'll play it now back to Sam Stewart. Goes across once again out to McCormack. Good pass on to Hagan, who picks up Tony Kemp coming back in the other direction, and he's easily knocked to the ground on the far side.
And still Marquette waits on the sideline. Sam Stewart has no intentions of coming off.
Okay, but they're in possession of the ball, the Newcastle side. Trying to play it now, Peter Johnson. Back now to Scott Carter. Gives it across this time to Glanville. Tries to go through the gap. Again, John Elias combining with Paul Siren and backslam him. He'll play it 38 metres out from the Balmain goal line to Scotty Carter. Across to McCormack. Good pass to Peter Johnson. McCormack in support role. He'll offload once again back to Butterfield. Glanville again. He tried to flick up and over the top. It's come off a Balmain player's hands. The referee has indicated just that too. Scrum to go down 32 metres out from the Balmain goal line.
Okay, and let's just see here. Marquette's gone on and Sam Stewart off onto the reserves bench for slamming Sammy Stewart, the former captain of the Newcastle Knights. Disappointing exit for him. Scrum win to Newcastle.
Across now to Hagan. Out this time to Doyle. Doyle taken, and he'll be held up, called upon to play it back to Carter again from the back of the ruck. He picks up valuable yard, stepped inside Maguire, but Jimmy Jack's there to knock him down. He'll play it inside the Balmain quarter line. Back it goes to Doyle. He gives it across to Peter Johnson. Johnson around one. His pass goes astray, picked up by Fulmer. Fulmer can't get past the tackle of Stephen Roach and company. He's also knocked to the ground. He'll play it back. It goes to Glanville. Across now to Robbie McCormack. Out wide to Hagan. Hagan dummies. Goes back the other way. Steps away from one. But this time he's pulled down by McGarry. He'll play it Scott Carter once again at dummy half. A long pass this time. McCormack turns it back inside. This time to Marquette. He's going to be held up. Is he? One tackle left to go. 8 metres away from the Tigers goal line. Scott Carter gives it back this time to Kemp, but dived on it. And a good save it was too by John Elias for the Balmain side. A metre out from his own goal line.
Well, it's been all Newcastle in the last 5 to 10 minutes, and they're putting plenty of pressure on Balmain, but have been unable to come up with a try. And if my memory serves me correctly, they scored one last week to Ashley Gordon against Brisbane. They didn't score one in the previous 2 weeks, so tries are at a premium for them at the moment.
Surely are. Now we've got Balmain's James Grant giving it back this time to Benny Elias. This time he doesn't find Creaky at home. He puts the ball well down the centre of the ground, right back into the Newcastle quarter line. He turns to chase. Michael Neal's up there. Oh, beautiful tackle by Michael Neal, and also McGarry in there. It's played to Fulmer. Fulmer gives it across to Doyle. He just fends off that time. Michael Neal still going strongly, and he's knocked down by John Elias short of the halfway line.
Matt Parrish to the sideline for Balmain. Knock on by the halfback McCormack, and it'll be Siranen to come off for Balmain. Paul Sirenen to leave the field for the Balmain Tigers. So there's a rest for Big Ciro. I don't know whether he'll be too happy about that, but he's played midweek. He's shaking his head, doesn't fancy it all that much, but Balmain leading by 14 points to 4, and Paul Sirenen to leave the field with 13 minutes left to play.
He had cramp down there too, Peter, so
well,
maybe...
He's shaking his head, he's not happy, but no player. I don't think you'd be happy if you had a player that was happy coming off anyway. But anyway, he's out of the game now, and Matt Parrish on. Balmain now trying to extend this lead to one that is an unassailable one. Brasher almost through. Well picked up by Glanville in a good tackle. 30 metres out from the Newcastle line. 27 minutes gone in the second half. Balmain 14, Newcastle 4. Penalty Balmain hanging on to the play the ball. Tony Butterfield.
Oh, silly penalty too, given to the Balmain side, 28 metres out from the Newcastle goal line, as Peter pointed out. Butterfield hanging onto the foot. You know, that you just don't do that sort of thing. Benny Elias has come up. He's having a look. He's marking the spot. So waiting to see what he's going to do. He's going to kick for touch.
Well, Balmain have got to put some pressure on Newcastle. Newcastle have applied the pressure in the last 10 minutes, and Balmain's defence is held, and that's commendable. But their attack hasn't been what I'm sure Balmain fans or their coach Warren Ryan would have wanted this afternoon.
Wayne Pearce going forward after the tap from Ben Elias. He's knocked down by Peter Johnson. Getting up the play it back to Benny Elias, this time out to Roach. Roach is going to be pulled down by Marquette. Oh, he's had the ball stolen from him this time by Butterfield. He looks back, he gives it across to Glanville. Oh, but McGarry puts him down on his own quarter line. Plays it now to Scott Carter. He gives it across to Marquette, again charging forward. A good 9 metres picked up by that man. He'll quickly play it to Carter again. Goes across this time to McCormack. Out now to Hagan. Long pass across to Tony Kemp. Gives it to John Allenson, but he's wrapped up by James Grant on the far side. Plays it once again to Hagan. Hagan comes forward. He gives it back now to Scott Carter, who's sat flat on his backside, 30 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Kemp serves one up once again for McCormack. He's through the gap, and he is through the gap too. He turns it back inside. But I thought there was a knock on from Butterfield, Peter.
Matthew Rodwell on for the Newcastle side in jumper number 33. Matthew Rodwell.
Okay, knock on that time.
Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
He's having a big game, this trainer. Got himself in the double.
Got himself in the double, did he say?
Yes.
The first scorers. Okay, we've got Balmain playing the football now. Wayne Pearce goes across this time to Neil. And Marquette again around the legs to pull Neil down. We'll get up the play at 8 metres on the Newcastle side of the halfway line to Ben Elias. No, he doesn't. I thought he was going to give it to Parrish. Decides to go on his own. And again wrapped up over the top by Marquette. He'll play it once again. Back it goes this time to Michael Neal. He's going to be pulled down 31 metres out from the Newcastle goal line by McCormack. Quickly plays it across this time. Roach charging forward. Has a look back. Offloads back now to Wayne Pearce. Good pass on to Maguire. Maguire going forward. Butterfield comes at him from behind to knock him down. He'll get up to play the ball. 28 metres out now from the Newcastle goal line. Across to Benny Elias. This time to Freeman. Turns it inside to Wayne Pearce. Hits it up strongly. But a knock on that time by Freeman. Gives Newcastle possession. And Creaker now with the football for the Newcastle side. And he's knocked to the ground 12 metres out from his own goal line.
Well, Balmain in the second half, one try, and that came in the 3rd minute of the second half. And from that moment on, they've been, well, a little bit better than Newcastle, but not all that much better. It's been a game that it's been very, very untidy this afternoon. Balmain have really, in this match, slumped to the to Newcastle standard in the game. There's a lot of drop ball. As I speak, James Grant picks one.
Yes, he picked one up. It's a try. That's the end of the ball game. Well, that was shocking. A shocking pass outside. It was Rodwell first of all. The young fella picking himself up on the far side of the ground. He knew he made the blue.
Well, the young fellow's on there for experience, and Balmain have gone to an 18 points to 4 lead, and it's hardly anything to write home about this afternoon. They've been very good in recent weeks. That was an awful pass by Rodwell, but a dreadful take by the number 10 for Newcastle, Johnson, and just picked up by James Grant, and he's raced in and scored his second try of the game. You know, the young fellow, that was an awful pass by Rodwell, but a bad effort at getting it to by Johnson, and simply there for James Grant, and the speedster raced away and scored the try, and that's wrapped it up for Balmain by 20 points to 4 to give them their 5th win in succession in the Winfield Cup, but by far their most unimpressive performance without a doubt.
Yes, no doubt about that. Timmy Brasher now on the Newcastle quarter line, and their coach Alan McMahon would be so disappointed with that result. But as Peter said, Peter Johnson's attempted pick up of it rather than try to pick it up when a ball's along the ground. For goodness sake, you know you dive on those loose balls and treasure possession. But the kick now to become Another 2 points, I feel sure, although you never know from this young bloke.
4 tries to nil, Greg, and Balmain have cruised, but they won't have pleased anyone this afternoon. He's kicking awfully, Brasher.
Yeah, away to the right again.
That's 1 out of 4 for him this afternoon, and he's not striking the ball at all well. And I'm sure Balmain fans are saying, hurry up, Andy Courier, in getting here, because Balmain today have scored 4 tries, and they've only converted 1 of those 4. Sideline eye, Tony McGay.
Well, haven't put the flag up, Newcastle. Another replacement, Setri.
Okay, Graham Setri coming to the sideline now for the Newcastle side, formerly at Penrith and at Parramatta. And Newcastle now, who's coming off for them? Boyd coming off.
Yes, Boyd off, Setri on, ex-Parramatta player, Graham Setri.
18 points to 4 on the Mitsubishi Electric scoreboard in favour of Balmain over Newcastle.
And we've got the Tigers in possession. Notice that they've coughed it up too, would you believe, inside the Balmain quarter line. So we've got the Newcastle side and the hooker Scotty Carter in possession of the ball, giving it back to a support player coming through in Marquette. It's gone across now into the arms this time of the Newcastle player in Kemp. Kemp now charging forward. He's going to be pulled down inside the Balmain quarter line. Oh, it's another intercept this time by Freeman. And Freeman going to be in possession for the Balmain side. He quickly plays it back. It goes to Wayne Pearce. Pearce wrapped up just outside the Balmain quarter line. And he'll get up the plate. Setri was all over the top of him. Ben Elias from the back of the ruck. He's taken by Scotty Carter. I just wondered how far he was going to let him run before pitching him, because there wasn't one night on side then.
No, Greg, they're a very frustrated side, Newcastle, at the moment. And, you know, they are a side that they stand offside, or they have been all day, and it's played very hard for either side to play football. Balmain have taken the ball up, but they take 2 steps and they're in front of the defence. Even right now, they're offside, way offside out wide. McCann's got to try and bust his way through, and the referee, I think, has just got sick of blowing his whistle this afternoon for offside. The penalties in the game are 11-7 to Balmain over Newcastle, and the scrums are 5-all at the moment.
Wayne Pearce now playing it to Ben Elias. Back it goes now to Matt Parrish, but he's knocked to the ground. We'll get up the plate. Marquette was the tackler. Back it goes to Ben Elias. Gives it out this time to Roach charging forward. He couldn't slip his pass away that time. Had McCann overrunning it. He's up the plate to Freeman. Freeman a long pass across to Benny Elias. Out now to Michael Neal. Drops it off the end of the toe. Brasher's looking for the bounce. Trying to get a foot to it. But again, it's picked up that time by Steve Fulmer. 11 metres out from his own goal line. He'll quickly play it, and he does so. And it is picked up by Graham Setri. He'll get up to play the ball now. Back it goes across to Fulmer. Good pass on to McCormack. Can't get away from the tackle of Steve Roach, and he's knocked down inside his own quarter line. Scotty Carter at the back of the ruck racing away. Gives it back now to Fulmer again. Going inside, trying to beat Brasher. But he's met up there with by Freeman. He'll quickly play it to Scott Carter again from the back of the ruck. Picks up another 6 metres or so. He's 30 metres out from his own goal line. And we'll play it once again to Fulmer, who sends it inside to the centre of the field to Peter Johnson. Back now to Hagan. Puts a kick up over the top too. And beautifully picked up by Michael Neal. 5 metres into the Newcastle territory. He plays the ball.
Yeah, Michael Neal's had a very good game for Balmain today. He's one player who just doesn't make mistakes. He takes the right option all the time. He's been there covering for Balmain whenever they've needed him to, and he's really played well today. Elias adding a bit of spark to the side. He's been over the line a couple of times, and he set up 1 try, and he's had a very good game for Balmain as well.
Freeman now giving it across to Matt Parrish. Beautiful step from Parrish. Creek is there to get him. He gives it over the top to Freeman. Freeman back to Benny Elias. He scrambles for the line. He's there, but no, he's a fraction short of it. Once again, 3 times Brittany's tried there. And the ball is knocked down. It's going to be 6 to go as Maguire picks it up for the Balmain side. He does a 360, looks for Freeman again. Freeman charging forward, but he's going to be pulled down 2 metres out from the Newcastle goal line. Call upon now to play the ball. Back it goes now to John Elias. And Elias going, he's over. John Elias scores for the Balmain Tigers.
Well, very easy try for Elias through some puerile defence. Newcastle really outplayed again this afternoon, 22 points to 4, and that makes it 5 tries to 0 for Balmain. Their defence has been very strong today, and John Elias has gone in and scored the try with 4 minutes remaining for play. Elias, the try for Balmain from dummy half after the referee played a good advantage rule. It was the Newcastle player in Jeff Doyle well offside. The referee called him out of the play, said 6 more tackles for Balmain, and it was ultimately the try scored by John Elias for the Balmain side from dummy half, just too strong, and has gone in and scored the try. Balmain 22, Newcastle 4 with 3 minutes left for play.
Okay, we've got Timmy Brasher now to convert that try, and a good strong effort from John Elias to post that 4-pointer. He's been trying to sift out a try, but so has Benny. He's been so close yet so far. There's the kick from Brasher. Got the 2. Got the 2 points, Timmy Brasher.
Well, about time too. 2 out of 5 for him this afternoon. The scoreline 24-4 with Brasher converting the try scored by John Elias. So Brasher 2 from 5 this afternoon. Balmain have scored 5 tries to nil to lead Newcastle by 24-4. And our 2GB Mad Barry's man of the match coming up shortly.
Okay, we're back to the halfway line once again with Tony Kemp to get it underway. And he does just that with a kick downfield. It's going to go, into the arms of Freeman. Freeman going for the football, manages to get it. Fulmer tries to pull him up over the halfway line.
Michael Neal is our 2GB Mad Barry's player of the match this afternoon. An excellent game from him. Michael Neal has had an excellent game for Balmain. I think he's been everywhere today. There haven't been a lot of outright stars there today, but he certainly has played very, very well. So 3 points in our 2GB Mad Barry's contest to Michael Neal from the Balmain Tigers this afternoon. 2 points again to Gary Freeman, who's played excellent football, and 1 point to Ben Elias, who's played very, very well this afternoon too. So 3 to Michael Neal, 2 to Gary Freeman, and 1 to Ben Elias as our 2GB Mad Barry's points this afternoon. Elias kicks downfield now over the head of Marty Creaker. Creaker's done little wrong for this Newcastle side this afternoon. He's found himself with plenty of traffic coming his way, and he's done a fair job. He's made a very good run.
Yes, he has, and he's given it back to Tony Kemp too. He's had a fine game, Peter, this afternoon. But Kemp now picks up John Allinson. They're not done yet, the Newcastle side.
They're not done.
Well, they're done, but I mean,
they're
still having a bit of a go, is what I mean. Hagan now gives it across into the arms this time of the young bloke going forward in Marquette. He's knocked to the ground. He'll get up the plat. Back it goes across this time to McCormack, trying to straighten up the attack. Benny Elias is there to pull him down 8 metres short of the halfway line. And he'll get up once again, back to Scotty Carter. Through the gap, Carter takes off, had support out wide with Rodwell. Couldn't get his pass away as he's knocked to the ground. Rodwell at dummy half across to McCormack. Long pass picks up Michael Hagan. He offloads out to Doyle. Doyle comes back inside one. He gives it back to Graham Setry, who shows a clean set of heels before. He is knocked down inside the quarter line, but he has coughed up possession. Jack dives on it, gets up the plate. It goes across now into the arms of Brasher.
Almost time up at Leichhardt Oval, and the Tigers make it 5 in a row. There it is, full time. Balmain 24 have beaten Newcastle 4 at the Leichhardt Oval before a crowd of 6,415 for Balmain this afternoon. 2 tries to James Grant, 1 to Ian McCann and 1 to Gary Freeman, 1 to John Elias, 2 goals from 5 attempts to Tim Brasher, and for the Newcastle side, 2 goals from 2 attempts to their goal kicker, Marty Creaker. Scrums in the game were 5 all. 5 all the scrums in the game, and the penalties were 11-7 to Balmain. 11-7 to Balmain. Our 2GB Mad Barry's man of the match this afternoon. 3 points to Michael Neal, 2 to Gary Freeman, and 1 to Ben Elias. It was a tough, hard game of football this afternoon, and I'm sure the boys will sleep pretty well tonight. A tough game of rugby league, and congratulations, Michael Neal, 2GB Mad Barry's player of the match, and not your best performance, that's Balmain's this season, but you've got the biscuits, Michael, and that's all that matters. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Peter. Yeah, I thought it was an effort. Newcastle were a spoiling side. They're very hard to play sort of free-flowing football against, and I thought we stuck to our guns. I thought our defence probably won us the game,
Yeah, well, no tries this afternoon, and you guys scored 5, so it's a comprehensive victory, but it's not as well as the side's been playing in the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, I'd say that. But Newcastle don't let you sort of play sort of what would you say, pretty football. They make you sort of roll your sleeves up, and you have to work for your points against them. But it probably didn't look like a very convincing win, but I thought it was a fairly good win.
Yeah, well, it was a good win, and as a matter of the scoreboard shows it, and the defence of the side was very good, Mick. And this afternoon, I thought that you had too much pace for them out wide, but they wouldn't let you get the ball out because of that umbrella stand-up type defence that they were employing.
Yeah, they did. They were bordering on standing offside, but I suppose we were too. But James Grant, like these 2 tries, they were just sort of. He beat up the speed. We've got a lot of speed out wide in the wingers now in the centre, so it's sort of probably something we've lacked over sort of the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, goal kicking's still a problem, and I suppose Andy Courier can fix that.
Yeah, but where's Andy going to play? That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly right. The situation today at half-time, 10-4. In the last couple of weeks, you've gone very well in the second half, and you started off the second half well with a good try to James Grant, but you seemed to put the whip away for a while.
Yeah, we went to sleep. Probably that was, to Newcastle's credit. They sort of defended really well for probably the mid 20 minutes of the second half, and probably didn't allow us to sort of play football. Maybe we did go to sleep a bit too, though. Yeah.
Okay, 5 wins in a row, so Balmain certainly on a roll. That's a good sequence in this competition to have 5 in a row.
It is, with so many upsets this season, sort of you got to be on your game, probably mentally more than physically, because everyone's sort of probably, just as fit as each other, but probably you got to be mentally tough, each week, and that's probably where sides are falling down. They're probably on a high one week, but then they go on a bit of a lull the next.
Well, you're the first side in the double figures, and after 2 losses from 2 games, that's a good comeback. Thanks for talking to us, Mickey.
Thanks a lot, Peter.
Okay, Michael Neal, certainly the red-headed terrier in that Balmain side. He had a very strong game this afternoon, just repeating 3 points to Michael Neal, 2 to Gary Freeman, and 1 to Ben Elias. 269-0669 is the open line number. We'll be taking calls on that open line very, very shortly. So ring up now and you can be first on. Gavin Miller, Balmain just did enough this afternoon, 5 tries to 0. The defence was very good. They're a spoiling side, Newcastle, and it wasn't the greatest spectacle that we've witnessed this year.
No, it wasn't, Peter, and that's exactly what Mike Neal said. He had an outstanding game. Mike, he was covered plenty of territory, but I was a little disappointed in the Newcastle side. I thought that they had a little bit more to play for than what they showed, and they've got to go back to the drawing board a bit.
There's just no variety there. I hate to be critical of a football side, but unless Michael Hagan puts something on, there's very little on. I mean, they're very willing and they're strong, but you need more than that in this Winfield Cup. You've got to have some guile there, and they were just so predictable today that Balmain covered their every move.
Well, that's right, Pete. You talk about Mike Hagan. Now, Michael's very good. He's got a great passing game, but, he's not like an Elias or like an Roach that can take the ball to the line and then offload to supports, whereas creating problems for the defence. And, if you've got a good defensive line, you can always overcome the problems of Michael Hagan passing game.
Well, you certainly have, and Balmain covered them at every opportunity today, but we've seen a bit of Balmain lately, and that's the worst they've played in their 5 wins. Yeah,
but to win so convincingly and put in a not as good a performance as what we've seen, that speaks volumes of what they can do down the line, particularly with the calibre of player that they have got to come back into the team.
Yeah, I suppose I'm being too harsh on them. They did win by 20 points, and, it's not bad, is it?
No, it's not bad, and as Mike said, they're a fairly tough team to play against Newcastle, particularly just the way that they spoil in defence. But, also... when you look at it, they had some players that had to back up from Wednesday, and today is only Saturday, so, it was a fairly quick and physical game on Wednesday as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. So, really, I suppose in retrospect, it was a good effort by Balmain. You can only play as well as the opposition let you, and they dominated from the outset. They scored in the 18th minute, and they never gave up that lead, and they never looked in any danger. Newcastle came back strongly midway through the second half, and for about 10 minutes they bombarded the Balmain line.
Yeah, but they just didn't have that class or calibre of player that you need to get across the stripe on a regular basis. And talk about the players that received the points today. I thought that it was there was plenty of players, but Neal played well, and Freeman had a great game, busy as ever, and so did Benny Elias. But I was extremely impressed with Stephen Roach today. I really thought Blocker's just going about it, the business of front row forward play like I've never seen him in better form than the last 3 or 4 weeks. And if he continues to play that way, it spells trouble for Queensland.
Certainly does. To tell you the truth, I thought the day was probably his quietest game in the last couple we've seen from him. But maybe I'm expecting too much from the big fella.
Well, something that we didn't see from him that we didn't see from him in the last.